was Christy, and she just did so many insane things. Honestly, it's hard for me to even remember all the things she did because I think mentally I kind of blocked out so many things, and so like I know there's stuff that I won't remember, but I'm gonna tell you a lot of the more traumatizing things. Anyway, my dad basically met this lady through a friend, and he really liked her, I guess. They like went on a couple dates or whatever, and eventually they started getting serious enough to where my dad wanted us to meet her, and so we all went to this ice cream place in Arizona. It's where we lived at the time, and it's called the Sugar Bowl. And we all went and got ice cream, and like it was really fun, and you know, we liked her. She seemed like a really nice lady. We were like, wow, you know what, maybe it wouldn't be too terrible if they got married. We were a little bit nervous though because she had two daughters. I'm not gonna say their names, but she had two daughters. One was my age and one was a little bit older. She was probably like 23 at the time, and I was like 12, probably. Anyway, so they ended up getting married, and I remember the first weird thing I noticed was at the wedding, they played like this slideshow of, you know, like family photos and like the kids when, you know, they were like babies and like, I don't know, just like memories, I guess, and like it was kind of weird. But there was only like one picture with me and my siblings in it, and the rest of the slideshow was just my stepmom, Christy, and like her daughters and my dad, and like me and my siblings were only in one picture, and it was like, okay, whatever, you know. And it was really weird. I remember we had to like walk her down the aisle and stuff, and like it felt really weird. And she moved all of her stuff in, and her daughters moved in with us. And, you know, it was like this whole mixing family thing that was really difficult, especially at a young age, you know, like going through that type of stuff isn't easy as a kid, and, you know, your brain isn't fully developed, and you're still learning things and whatever. So, shortly after she moved in, we started to really see her true colors. And they only dated for a few months, I believe, before they got married, which is so insane. Okay, stuff's about to get crazy, so trigger warning. So like the first thing I noticed was, well, one of them was like every time my mom called me, I would be sitting on my bed, and I don't know if I can explain this right, but I'd be sitting on my bed talking to my mom, and I would see like a shadow on the ground, like the light from the hallway was shining down, and there was a shadow on the ground, like someone was standing there, like next to the door listening, but you know, I couldn't see them, I could just see the shadow. And like I'd be talking to my mom, and I just knew that Christy was listening to me and my conversations and stuff, because she would later like bring stuff up about, you know, what I was talking about. So that really creeped me out. And anyway, next I remember there was this one time me and my brother got in trouble for something, and I think it was literally like a very innocent thing, like we rode our bikes to my aunt's house to like see them or something, like my cousins, I don't remember. Anyway, Christy convinced my dad to make us go work outside, so like we had to do like landscape work outside and eat it in front of us just to like make us upset, I guess. It was really like messed up, and they were like sitting out there eating ice cream in front of us, and they didn't even want to be like doing it in front of us. Like they felt awkward about it too. And then we were at a basketball game one time. It was my brother's basketball game, and so my dad had like a restraining order against my mom. Like she couldn't be within like a certain amount of feet of like my dad and my stepmom or something. And so my sister got up to go to the bathroom, and my mom was like, oh, this is like my chance to go talk to my daughter, you know. And so, you know, my mom got up and went to the bathroom and was like talking to my sister, and I guess they were like in the stall together or whatever. Like it wasn't like weird, it was just like a mother-daughter thing. They were like talking, and Christy gets up and goes into the bathroom with them, and we're like, oh god. And I don't know why, but she like just wanted to cause conflict all the time. It felt like she was just bored, and so she went in the bathroom and like got in a fight with my mom. I even heard she like crawled under the stall. I don't even know. And then like the cops were called, and you know, she claimed that my mom had like punched her in the breast and ruptured her implant, which I always thought was so funny. And just like all this weird stuff just because my mom wanted to talk to my sister, you know what I mean? I've actually thought about having my mom come on my channel and like tell the story of like the divorce, because we talk about it all the time and all the crazy stuff that happened. Anyway, fast forward a little bit, and you know, we started to realize how crazy Christy was. Fast forward a little bit, and you know, we were starting to see how crazy Christy was. And it's funny because this whole time my dad was telling my mom, oh, you don't hold a candle to Christy and all this stuff. And it's just funny because their marriage only lasted like a year. Anyway, I remember like waking up in the middle of the night and just hearing yelling and screaming upstairs. I was in the basement. That's like where I slept, me and my brother. And I remember like hearing dishes and things be broken. Like she was just walking through the house, like breaking stuff, and we're like, bruh, like what is going on? And we were like really scared. And we were just kids, you know, and at that age you feel so like powerless, you don't know what to do. And so like I remember my sister came downstairs, and we like all went into my brother's room, and we just like sat there with the door closed because we were like scared. We didn't know like if she was gonna come downstairs or what was gonna happen. And I really don't even remember what it was about and why she was doing that, but like eventually we all like went to sleep. And another thing she did was she like made up a lie to, you know, get my brother and sister in trouble, and my dad like punished them, and they had to like do all this yard work and stuff based off of a lie that my stepmom said. I don't remember what it was again, but like my brother and sister will to this day like, you know, talk about it. They had to work outside in the heat like every day, like pulling weeds and doing yard work stuff. And yeah, it was just crazy. There was also a time where something happened where, I don't know, like when my dad was at work, that was like when she would go ham and like yell at us and do all these crazy things, was when my dad was like gone working, because he was working like full time. And he owns like a steel business. And there was this time where he was at work, and she got all of us in a room, and she started saying, I need you guys to write me like a one-page letter apologizing to me for like she's like, and then after that we're gonna, go outside and we're gonna have a fire tonight and burn the letters and like all this weird stuff. It was so weird. And so yeah, we literally did that. Like we wrote apology letters to her and like we didn't even know what was going on. And then like that night we went out and yeah, like we all like burned the letters and it was like the weirdest thing I've ever experienced. And I feel like she was just kind of manipulative towards us, like we're kids, and she would kind of, she thought she was so smart and like she could control us and all this stuff, and it was like really weird. Okay, and Christy was from Utah, and a lot of, the people in Utah are very religious and Mormon. Well, one thing that she did to punish my younger sister, Sydney, was lock her in her closet and make her sing church hymns, like church songs, which is so creepy. Like it literally reminds me of like the movie Carrie, if you guys have ever seen that, where she locks her in like a room like under the stairs and then like makes her like pray to like a Jesus statue. Like it's so creepy. And like she was just such a creepy woman. And like I remember every day when I went out the front door, we had a pretty loud, like big steel front door. And so like every time I'd open the door to go to the bus stop, she would call me into her room. I would open the door and she'd hear it and go, Tyson. And I'm like, oh God. I was like, what? And she's like, come give me a kiss. And I would have to go into the room and while she was laying in bed and like kiss her goodbye. It was so gross. Oh my God. I'm like, you're not my mom. And I don't know why, but I was her favorite. She would like say that, like she would like punish my brother and sister for stuff, but I was like her favorite. It was really weird. I don't know, we never really clicked with her daughters. I mean, like, we were okay with each other, but we were never like close, And yeah, eventually they ended up getting a divorce, and I remember like coming home from school one day and there were like tire tracks all over the yard, and like all the gravel and stuff in the yard was like all over the place. And she like came to our house and she did like a donut or something. She was like peeling out like in our yard and like ruined the grass, and yeah, it was really crazy. And she did so many crazy things like that. Or like one time I was at my friend's house. It was like down the street from my house. And I remember like we were outside like hanging out and my stepmom pulled up and she was like, Tyson, I need a hug, and like blah blah blah. And it was like awkward. My friend was like watching me and I had to like go over and like hug my stepmom. It was, like she just like pulled up and like wanted a hug. It was so weird. And yeah, like I remember after they got divorced, she wrote us all like letters and she started like messaging us on Facebook, and like it was just like a lot. And she left me like her number saying if I ever need anything, call her, which no thanks. But it's so crazy because like fast forward like 5 years and we were like I think we were like in Iowa or something, like literally like the middle of the United States, and we were waiting in line for something. We were like at some like amusement park, or I forgot what it was, but we saw her and her daughter, one of them, and I was like, oh my God. And we just like we ran. I was like, hell no. Like, what are the chances of us running into her in like a completely different state at the same time, same place? Like, it's so insane to me. always like so sad. I honestly feel so bad for my mom. Um, this is kind of a side note, but pretty much, we were always told growing up that my mom, my actual mom, was like crazy. She had schizophrenia and bipolar, and we couldn't really trust her. And we were literally like brainwashed to think that, which is like really sad. And my mom like just wanted her kids, and my dad ended up getting custody by making her look crazy and all this stuff. And it's really sad, and like I literally just found out like within the last couple of years that my mom actually isn't crazy. Like I thought this, I'm 23 and I literally thought my mom was like insane for so long. But it turns out we were just like brainwashed, and we never felt like we could trust her because, stuff my dad did. And oh my god, there's literally so many things. So if you guys want a full video on like my childhood and like my parents' divorce, like I want to have my mom talk about it, like tell her story, because it's actually like super sad. And she ended up having her kids taken away from her, and like all the lies against her that made her lose her kids and stuff, like it's really sad. Anyway, this got dark and depressing. I hope you guys like this story time. That's my crazy stepmom, Christy, story time. She never physically abused me, but she did to my dad. Like, I know there was a story where she like bit him on the chest and he was like bleeding and stuff. Really creepy. And I hope I never see her again. So, anyway, hope you guys have a good night. Hopefully you enjoyed this story time. And I know that I don't have it as terrible as some people. There are people out there that have it 10 times worse, and I hope that like I just make that clear. And like I'm not telling this for like sympathy or anything. Like I'm over it. Like it happened so long ago. It's been like over 10 years, and I just thought it was interesting. I wanted to kind of tell my story a little bit, and there's more to the story if you guys want to hear it. So let me know, and I'll see you guys on the next one. But before I go, I did want to thank my patrons on Patreon really quick. So thank you so much, Alistair, Katrina, Blaine B, Eric Reese, Jesse Ide, Len Solo, Micaiah Carter, Christine, and I think that's it. So have a good night, guys. I'll see you on the next one.